We're back from our trip to the Windy City. Let's talk about it. Folks, we traveled to the Windy City birthday trip. We're back. As you can see, we acquired some new swag. We'll talk about that. Adam, where are we going to start this journey?
It feels appropriate to go chronologically. We packed it in.
Mm-hmm.
Three days filled with baseball in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. We did.
We had a little misadventure on the front end of the trip.
We did.
Aaron, talk about what happened.
Well, I like to be to the airport early, drove to the airport, get all checked in, ready to go. I couldn't find, it took me a while to find like the right board for where my flight was. And of course, after I get all checked in, I'm ready to go. I'm there early like I usually am. Not only am I early, my plane's delayed an hour. And I waited and I waited. I had some food, and my plane was delayed another hour, which means I landed in Chicago at 2:40 a.m.
You did. And in the meantime, I arrived early. But I knew that I was going to arrive before you. And so I had prepared a rental car hotel close to the airport. And I was just, get off the plane, pick up the car, go to the hotel. Well, it just so happens mid-flight somewhere, I didn't have my phone on. I'm following the rules, but mid-flight, I received a phone call and then got the voicemail when I landed that the rental car facility did not have any cars, despite my reservation made months ago. No car available for me. Sorry.
And let's be clear. It's not like we're looking for luxury vehicles and they just didn't happen to have any. And we're talking the basics.
Yeah. I was going for the no frills Toyota Corolla is what I was looking for. Yep. So it was a bit fortunate that you were landing late so that I could solve the rental car problem, which I did, but we ended up paying over twice as much because I had to pay on the spot rather than reserving ahead of time. And as folks might know when they're traveling, it gets a little spendy when you're buying it on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. So we, needless to say, we hotel room, 3:00 in the morning, and real basic digs, nothing crazy. And,
the room was large enough for like 2 king beds in the room.
Yep.
But, they figured we needed lots of room for wrestling or something.
Working out.
Playing baseball in the room.
Yeah.
Because we got one. We are grown men here, folks. You can't tell how tall we are. We are both 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood of 200 pounds apiece. And we are sharing a double bed in the middle of the room. That's what we got.
Yeah.
And so we walk in. There we are. 3:00 in the morning. Time to get cozy.
Yeah, and it was a bit tough to sleep. I mean, not just because of the sharing the bed situation, but we were both very excited for the trip that was ahead of us. It was very difficult to sleep. It was 3:30 or 4 by the time we fell asleep, and then you got to get up to go down to the game. And we had some preparations. So we were going where we started was Cubs game Saturday afternoon at 1:20. Gates open at 11:40, 11:50. And so we wanted to get down there, kind of check out the scene, get some coffee. And so we couldn't sleep into like noon. That wasn't going to work for us. Plus, we had to get parking because why?
Right after the Cubs game, we were driving to Milwaukee to catch the Brewers Diamondbacks, which started at 6:30, 6:10.
6:10.
And
Yeah.
we needed to park the car just so that we were close enough to walk to Wrigley, but far enough that we could sort of get out onto the main road and get on our way to Milwaukee quickly without getting stuck in too much traffic.
Yeah, exactly. So we parked about I would say about a mile. I don't know, something in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Which worked out. We had plenty of time to walk down in there. It wasn't a big deal, and so that started our journey with a little McDonald's coffee. I will tell you this. I mean, there are coffee shops around, but I live in Colorado. Adam lives in the Pacific Northwest, and coffee shops here are much more abundant than they are in, well, at least where we were at in Chicago.
Yeah. And we were on a little bit of a budget. So we're trying to spend the money wisely, focus the money on the baseball stuff.
Yeah.
Neither of us are coffee snobs by any stretch, so McDonald's did the trick.
Yes, McDonald's did the trick. And just to give you a little bit of context of why that matters is because you're on a budget. 2 McDonald's coffees was under $4. My wife went to coffee with a friend this week to get Americanos. Okay, that's just coffee and water. No frilly stuff, no lattes, no frappuccinos. $13 for 2. We saved ourselves $10 by hitting the McD's. Every dollar counts. So we got our coffee. We wandered around Wrigley for a bit. We got to enjoy the outsides, kind of get our bearings a bit. And then we got to enjoy the game. We did some wandering around a bit. I don't know if there were any major highlights. We thought we were going to get a Ryan Sandberg autograph, but we didn't because we weren't on the special list. The Cubs Hall of Fame inside the stadium was underwhelming. It was cool, underwhelming, and we got to watch a game.
Yeah, and before the game, a fun little thing that I didn't realize happened is that their Cub Bear mascot hits home runs reverse. They pitch little balls and he hits them into the crowd behind home plate over the screen. That was a fun little treat that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
And it was we couldn't have asked for a better day. It was sunny. It was beautiful, blue sky.
Yeah.
It was hot, but we had great seats underneath the facade, underneath the second
deck.
level.
Yeah.
And so we had a good view of the game. It was 92 degrees during the game, which is hot, but we were comfortable, perfect all game long. Nice little breeze rolling through, shade, didn't have to worry about the sunburns. It was glorious.
Yeah. Yeah. The bummer thing is, in terms of watching the game, you want to see the Cubs get a win. They did not. Actually, Mackenzie Gore for the Nationals pitched. He went into the 7th with a no-hitter. The one Cubs hit, well, it was a fun one. Patrick Wisdom hit a solo home run out of the stadium, which was fun. It's not as big of a home run as like other stadiums, but it was, he hit it out of the stadium. That was pretty cool. So, anyway, we had a good time. It didn't turn out the way we wanted, but what that allowed us to do is hit the boogie straight out, watch the last pitch, and we had a chance to move down a little bit right before the last pitch, hit it out, and then do a little jog, speed walk all the way to the car so we could hit it to Milwaukee.
Yeah, we were the pace of the game was so quick, and we were pretty nervous throughout the game about the pace because we realized getting through traffic and then getting up to Milwaukee was going to be a little bit of a trek. And so we were thinking there's no way, certainly no way we're going to get there by first pitch. We were thinking maybe it might be halfway through the game before we get there.
Mm-hmm.
But because of Gore's gem that he was pitching, and the Cubs pitchers were throwing pretty effectively as well, just went right along. The game was probably 2 hours 20.
Yeah, 2.5, yeah, roughly.
Yeah. So then we just took off, got on out of there, just got in the car, and off we went.
Yep. Air conditioner cranked after that little sweat fest getting running up 90-degree weather. But we got to hit the road. Didn't take us long really to get out on the freeway and head north to Milwaukee. Budget move for those of you out there on a road trip. You need a quick budget move. We went Arby's chicken sandwiches, just the standard, not the spicy. 2 for $6. So Adam and I each got $6 dinner. Granted, we're not talking top of the line here. But you talking about a budget, McDonald's coffee, Arby's 2 for $6 sandwiches. We hit that day perfectly. It was big time.
Yeah. I mean, it took a bit of a wait to get the sandwiches.
I think they were ordering them in from their supplier or something of that nature, but it took a while. But
yeah. And we had this bag of peanuts that we bought. We were like, okay, we're going to do the snack on the peanuts thing when we get hungry. We didn't even use the peanuts at either game.
No, we had plenty to eat. And we shot up to Milwaukee and we made it in time. Like we roll, the parking is a little bit away from the stadium. So you walk up to the stadium, but it's really accessible and great, easy to get to. Sat in our seats 2 minutes before first pitch and it was hot. They closed the roof because it sprinkled. And it was hot. They were giving away puffy vests.
Yeah.
People in the upper deck. It's 80, 85. I don't know. It was hot.
Yeah.
People wearing the puffy vests.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and our seats are at the top of the stadium, so the heat is up there too. But we toughed it out.
Yeah.
We toughed it out.
It felt like it cooled down. I think the Diamondbacks, we were there rooting for the Diamondbacks, and they came out victorious. I think by 7th, 8th inning, people were starting to thin out a little bit. So it did feel like it cooled down a bit toward the end of the game.
Yeah, and then, great, a lot of fun to see the Diamondbacks win. And then we're on our way, and we're back to Chicago. I mean, we calculated in a 9-hour span, we watched 2 full baseball games and drove from Chicago to Milwaukee and back to Chicago.
Yep.
It was an unbelievable, like a 9-hour stretch, unlike anything I'd ever experienced. 2 games in 2 states, 2 cities.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah, it was incredible. So we were back in Chicago at the luxury hotel accommodations by about 10:30, 11, probably midnight before we fell asleep. Fortunately, so we had up next was a trip into Iowa. And we kind of thought we might be up early. Fortunately, I think it's one of those things that'd be nice to get on the road a little earlier, but we needed the sleep for the next couple days. And so we slept in a bit Got up at 9, hit the road. Adam, where did we head on day 2?
We were making our way to the Field of Dreams movie site.
Uh-huh.
And, speaking of waking up late, it actually worked out well because it was raining quite a bit in the morning. And I
Yeah.
think some of uh, what the unexpected joys along the way would have not happened had
Yes.
we left earlier. So
100%.
we were making our way west
Uh-huh.
toward Dyersville, Iowa, which is where the Field of Dreams movie site is.
Uh-huh.
And we're driving along the road, just driving along.
Well, we had stops. We didn't have a bat, and we didn't know what to
Yep.
expect there. We brought our gloves, and we brought a baseball. So we were making goodwill stops along the way to try to find a bat. We picked up a handful of baseballs in Chicago before we headed out. But I think it was like Dubuque or something before we ever found a bat, which we ended up
Right.
not using. But $2.50 or whatever it was for that bat, so not a big deal. But we headed west. We had some lunch on the way, and we stopped in. We're just driving along the road, and if you think those handwritten signs don't work, think again, because there was a sign just driving on Highway 20 across Illinois, through Galena and all these small towns. Little Cubs Field in Freeport, Illinois. And we thought, what is that?
So I Googled it,
Mm-hmm.
and we figured, the day's pretty open, and let's just go swing by, check it out, see what it's all about. So we pull into Freeport, small little town,
Mm-hmm.
drive on up there, and what do you know? It's a little Cubs field.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like if you play wiffle ball, maybe even like t-ball, perhaps. It is a baseball field that size,
Mm-hmm.
but dimensionally accurate to scale, like size down to scale for Wrigley Field, called
Mm-hmm.
Little Cubs Field. And it's not only the scale is accurate, it's got the same brick, the same ivy, the same dirt, the same grass. It's got the bleachers in left field. It's got a replica scoreboard in center field.
Mm-hmm.
It's got it all.
It's got all, yeah. It was beautiful. It had rained, so it was a bit wet on the grass. It wasn't raining while we were there, but the grass was wet. Kind of went, checked it out, and we thought, well, let's go into the shop here. So we go inside. Very nice woman working there, helping us out, and she had, well, they have at the facility there, a bucket of wiffle balls and a bunch of wiffle bats, and it's go hit out there. This is a nonprofit. They just invite people to come in, enjoy the scenery, and the rule is, this is how she said it: if you hit a home run, you must buy a T-shirt. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't read the T-shirt beforehand. But at the same, it's a nonprofit. It's like, I'm not going to argue with her. It's like we get to use this field, this fun thing, and let's make a donation to something that's fun and it's enjoyable. It's a great part of the community. So we went out there, and we hit some home runs. Adam hit first, hit a home run. I hit left-handed, which not my natural side. Left-handed, absolute tank out to right field. We both homered twice, and so we picked up a shirt. Okay, now I got to move my microphone a little out of the way. Okay, I hit a home run at Little Cubs Field. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, a decent price on the shirt,
Mm-hmm.
and so much fun.
So much fun. Yeah, we wanted to stay longer. And like, so when we were growing up, we'd put together a roster with our baseball cards and we'd play a little game. And we wanted to do that. But we didn't have enough time. We had to move on, and we thought, well, if it's available when we come back, that didn't work out, which was fine. But we wanted to stay there for a long time and play, but we had to get going on the road.
Yep. So we packed up our new T-shirts, hit the road, and made our way out to Dyersville, Iowa, and the Field of Dreams movie site. And what's beautiful about that, like, it's very popular, but not overcrowded, and free. And you just show up, and the field is there, and you just do whatever. And for us, I had been there, so I knew that you can go on the field and just play. And so we were prepared for that. As Aaron mentioned, we got some balls, bat, brought the gloves, went pretty much straight out onto the field, and played some ball. We played some catch. We did the obligatory take a video of each other walking out of the corn. Got to do that. But then we thought, we got to play some ball.
You're right. It was time to play some ball. So we did a little bit ourselves. But the thing that has been an incredible journey for me, and mostly this has happened with my kids, though I would say with adults as well in my town, is there are a lot of people who want to play baseball and they don't have the ability to do that. And typically it's because with baseball, you need somebody to pitch, hit, field. Like, you need more than one person generally. I mean, you can do some drills, but in my experience, there's a lot of kids who they just want to play. They're not maybe as interested in doing all the drills and stuff like that. That is available for kids who want to do that, but there's a lot of kids that just want to play baseball, but maybe don't want all the league and team and stuff. And even more interesting is my experience is there are an absolute ton of adults who want to play baseball, but there is no venue for them to play. I mean, you can play city league softball, but to be honest with you, not that many people have time to do it. You don't know enough people. Even rec league gets kind of ridiculous with trash talking and different stuff. But people want to play. And so I've been able to facilitate some of that in my own town, both for kids and adults. We always have a blast, and we got to carry that into that same mentality and same idea over to the Field of Dreams on our trip.
You and I got to play, did that together for a bit, and then we noticed some people were kind of pitching to each other a little bit. Certainly people posing at home plate with the bat, whatever. Taking pictures.
Play catch with their dad,
Yeah. Yeah. And so you and I just started, say, hey, you want to hit? And then one by one, somebody steps to the plate. Yeah, sure, I'll take a cut. And at the same time, so we're starting to get one person, another person, just kind of slow. There's a couple people at first. Then it almost felt like it was going to die out a little bit. But there was a tour sitting in the bleachers, and someone dressed up in one of the old-timey uniforms is telling them about the movie site, doing all the stuff for the tour. So the tour breaks, and now we've got, and at the same time, there's more people coming in from the parking lot.
And this is just for time reference. This is late afternoon. This is
Yeah.
3:30 about by that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got people sort of coming around, seeing us pitching, people hitting, people taking pictures, and people you can sense there's some curiosity, there's some excitement. Ooh, there's a little baseball here. And we just start, who's next?
Yeah.
Want to take some swings? And Aaron's out in the field. He's like, I got to field some grounders,
Fly balls.
got to make some plays. And one at a time, it's just like all ages, sort of like everywhere from probably 18 to 80.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are just like, yeah, I'll take a swing. And so here we are throwing pitches to all these people. And, 3 or 4 of them come up. I haven't swung a bat in 40 years.
Yeah.
One
of those guys is like, let me take some at first base.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my best to wing it across the infield. I was a little sidebar here. You watch baseball. So Adam and I played high school baseball. We played on a full size diamond, and we could pitch. We could do all the stuff. I was genuinely shocked by how far everything was, having not played on a professional size field for over 20 years. I was like, it's not that far. And then I pitched to you, and it was like I could have got 10 pitches in and my arm would have been shot. So just for people out there, if you're going, oh man, I could do that. Adam and I played on this size of field 20 years ago, and it was enormous to get the ball across the infield for people who had actually done it before. So please, you're watching baseball and you're like, I could have made that play. Probably not.
that is 100% true. So here we are on Field of Dreams, and we're just like participating in this like communal experience of this field where people have come from who knows where, certainly all over the country. People are talking about their journey from Pittsburgh and Houston and
Canada, I think.
Florida, and it's just beautiful to build this like fun experience together with these people, and the time just flies right by. We're there an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's just not letting up.
I just think about it in the sense of like when you extend an invitation, it's amazing, especially in baseball, but I think this is sort of a life thing as well. You extend an invitation with openness, with warmth, to these people. So the thing that's interesting is all these people are going to have probably a good memorable experience. But it's like, you invite them in to enhance that experience, and it's just beautiful. And I know you've already said quite a bit, and I want you to add as much as you want to, but I mean, what a powerful, moving experience to like be there for you and I to be there together. But not only that, to have these people show up. One guy, younger guy, early 20s maybe, came by himself carrying his own bat and balls, clearly wants to hit. And I just think in my mind, like, he's going to have a good experience no matter what. But what if he had showed up and we weren't there? He's just going to throw it up to himself and hit it, which that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that that's like an inferior experience, but how cool for him to actually have somebody to pitch to him. Like, what a neat experience to be there and hopefully make somebody's experience even that much better.
Yeah. And it was funny at one point, people were asking,
Yeah.
you guys work here? You know, like thinking this was like part of the Field of Dreams experience. And we're just like, no, we
Yeah.
just playing
Yeah.
ball, you know?
Yeah. When there's baseball to be played, you play baseball. That's what you do. So it was an incredible experience. I got to top it off with a memorable experience. So there's this guy, Brad. Shout out to Brad, not watching, but shout out to Brad. He had to take 40, 50 cuts off of you to a
Oh,
couple separate rounds.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're getting toward the end of our time. The timing ended up working well because we needed to go to the store. Other people wanted to use the field. It ended up working well. Brad hits a fly ball to center, run it down, catch it. So I'm running all over the field. That's when one of the guys asked me if I worked there, or if we worked there. Then right after he hits it to center, hits a shot to left. I'm running, pop, 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 full sprint. About 3 steps away, bam, hamstring gone. I made the catch, but that was it. After that, I pitched a little bit after that, but you cannot tell me I didn't leave it all on the field.
You did, yeah.
And Adam, let's Adam's humble sauce over here, but Adam's got like a torn rotator cuff or something in his right shoulder. And fortunately, you got the short arm throw down.
I got it.
Which actually works out perfectly because it's easy to aim that right in there for batting practice. So you had the Gimps leaving it all on the field at the Field of Dreams.
We had to do it. It felt like, my arm was sore after a while, but it was worth it. And it's like I can have my 65 weeks of rest before I have to pitch again,
Yeah.
So we wrapped up there. It was actually another tour had come in and they were wanting to do some stuff on the field. So they kind of pushed us off. So we went over to the Baseballism store, picked up some swag. Aaron, you got the hat. I got the Bananas reversible hoodie.
Yep.
Never in my life have owned a reversible hoodie, but we did that. Picked up some other stuff, and then we just started making our way back.
Yeah, through the back roads of Iowa and Illinois, and stopped, picked up some cost-effective dinner. Galena, Illinois is a beautiful little town, some historical buildings, so we took some pictures there. Headed back into town, drove back into Chicago, turned the rental car in, got ourselves sort of ready for the next day.
Yeah, and then we get up next day, third day, Monday. And I had wanted, when I planned this trip and done all the reservations, I wanted to do the Wrigley Field tour. But when I had read about the tour, all the reviews that I read said you have to go on a non-home game day. So maybe off season or during the season when they're traveling. Because you don't get to see, you can't go on the field, you can't go in the clubhouse, the dugout, you can't like get the tour short. It's just people were basically saying it's not worth it if you go on a game day at Wrigley. So we were fortunate that the Cubs were traveling after the weekend series. So we got ourselves up early, 10 o'clock tour, 10 a.m. And we're at this point, we're carless, because we wanted to do a short car rental, keep it in the budget. And we were, compared to Wrigley, we are out there.
Yeah.
We gotta take a bus to a train to a bus to a walk to the field. And that was a trek.
Yeah, and again, this is a traveling lesson. We got up early, so we are a little light on sleep. The excitement keeps you up. Just all this. It was hard to sleep, so not quite as much sleep. And then you have to, when you do these trips, you must plan for extra time in your schedule. Now, we do this all the time. I do this all the time. So I'm chronically like 2 hours early to things like this, like to the airport and whatnot. Uh, but just this is why we looked at the bus schedule and it said 7:56 pickup. So we go stand out at the bus stop at 7:56. There is no 7:56 bus, folks. It's an 8:22 bus. And to compound that, I mean, it worked out because Subway was the closest coffee near us for the bus stop. And they said they open at 7. False. They open at 8. So we were able to snag a coffee.
So we hit the bus, did the train, connected to another bus, got right on down to Wrigley. We had already done the walking around. We got there pretty close to the tour time.
Mm-hmm.
So we were okay. We didn't need to do all the look around the stadium neighborhood area. So we just hopped right in there, and it was a really amazing tour. Great tour guide. Shout out to Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And got to learn about the history, just the, everything. Like going on the field was really great
Mm-hmm.
experience. Going in the dugout, there's a lot of good picture opportunities. Really
Mm-hmm.
fascinating history. Great
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, being on the field right next to the ivy, you do not touch the ivy. They trim it by hand. Let it be known. Okay, so and the plants are the original ones they planted way back 100 years ago. Um, so yeah, great, fantastic tour. And then from there, we just it was we had all day and it was like, what are we going to do? So we did some researching and found our way. Took the L downtown, which that was wild. Taking the L, you're like, if you haven't done this, you're literally right next to the buildings. It's crazy. And so you go downtown. We saw the Bean and hit some lunch, and then we were headed back north up by the lake.
Yeah, well, and we can't forget to mention, so by the Bean, so then we were walking from the Bean, going a bit north
Mm-hmm.
toward the Navy Pier. And on the way to the Navy Pier, you walk through this park. And we thought, oh, this would be a cool park to walk through. We're looking at Google Maps and whatever. And we come around the corner off this bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And right around the corner,
Mm-hmm.
what do we see but mini golf? You and I are like, love the mini golf, but this was no ordinary mini golf.
No.
This was Chicago themed mini golf, 18 holes, and at least half of them
Mm-hmm.
were Chicago themed.
Yeah, shout out Maggie Daly Park.
Yeah, absolutely. So check it out when you go to Chicago. There's a Wrigley Field hole. There's a Chicago Bulls. There's music
Yeah,
place. I don't know, something.
yeah. There's all
You got a hot dog. The last hole, the ball makes its way through a
through.
hot dog.
Yeah, yeah. Adam cleaned me 8 strokes. Was not competitive, but
I was feeling it.
yeah. I mean, I think I had more aces than you. I think I had 2
Yeah.
hole-in-ones, but I had a couple had a couple of holes that did me dirty, and so we got to, it's mini golf. That's what happens. That's what happens. So
It was a great sort of like find along the way to enjoy the city and
mm-hmm.
just slow it down a little bit, chat, have a good time. And then we just kept on our way. We walked out to the Navy Pier, very touristy thing with some rides and different stuff. Just walked around the pier, came back, and then we had seen that there's a free zoo, Lincoln Park Zoo, that was about a 45-minute walk. And so what was great about that is it's right along the lake shore. So we just did a nice little walk up the lake. Aaron's studying for a big test coming up, so we just read the flashcards, walked up. It was a lot of fun, casual exploring the city.
Yeah, the weather was fantastic. It had cooled off, so it was 90 on Saturday at the Cubs game. It was like 60s, high 60s, little overcast, little breeze coming off the lake. It was majestic in terms of the weather, so we weren't, getting all dehydrated and sweaty and all that business. So it was fantastic weather for that. And then after we hit Lincoln Park, hit the zoo, did all the stuff, it was where do we go for dinner? And up to this point, we'd done the budget, everything, and we thought, you know what, let's hit a spot. So we just Googled, found a little. We were like, well, let's hit some Chicago pizza. Originally, we were thinking the deep dish, the kind of the traditional thing, but we found a spot that was just right near Lincoln Park, called Chicago Pizza and Oven Grinder Company. And if you go, we recommend it. Cool little spot, the bottom of one of the classic apartment buildings. They're cash only. It's just a phenomenal vibe in there, and you eat some delicious and unique, but like, it's just a unique twist on your classics.
Yeah, we started out with what they call Mediterranean bread. There's a very thin sort of flat bread. But the flavor, we're not going to be able to describe the flavor. It's unreal.
Delicious.
But what really sent it over the edge is they serve it on a bowl that's,
it's a standard bowl. It's like a cereal bowl.
A larger cereal bowl. But the thing is like 3 times the size of the bowl. I don't know what the purpose of the bowl is, other than maybe to emphasize how enormous this piece of bread is.
Yeah.
And so it's a huge piece of bread. It's like 24 inches across, or like 18 inches across or something, of just deliciousness.
So we have the massive bread appetizer, and at this point, it's like we still have what they call a pizza pot pie. We're going to have to a little description, but we still have that coming in. I'm very concerned that I'm going to be so full that I'm going to be uncomfortable. But we were good. We were good. We had a little beer, pizza pot pie. How would you describe the pizza pot pie for people? 'Cause I was trying to explain it to people, and it's basically like a mix of many different things, if you could imagine it, which I don't know if you can, but how would you describe the pizza pot pie?
I would describe it a little, it's like a cross between a calzone, a pot pie, I guess, a pizza, and pizza almost like a pie, not a pot pie, but a pie.
Yes. Yeah. So it's got the pizza crust. It's got the high walls a la pot pie ish, but not a pie crust. It's a pizza crust.
Yeah.
You got kind of a middle part that's like very pot pie-y, again, not the pie crust, but just kind of all the stuff in the middle. I also had, if you remember this, I kind of gave it a little description. It's got a little lasagna
Mm-hmm.
in there, so it's like pot pie, pizza, pie, calzone, and lasagna. If you can imagine all those things, but not the lasagna like noodle pasta things,
Yeah.
none of that. If you put that all together, I mean, I don't know. You have to go, I would recommend going there. We didn't have a sandwich. The oven grinder thing was like, what is this? It's basically they make these enormous sandwiches that look delicious. I am very thankful we didn't try to order that on top.
Yeah.
It ended up being the perfect amount of food, not overstuffed, perfect amount of food. And then the ice cream at the end, they made it there at the restaurant. I've only had one ice cream ever that was better than that one. It was spectacular.
All of it put together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the environment,
Yeah.
just the food, all of it.
It
Chef's
was
kiss. Chef's kiss.
it was a perfect meal to end the trip. Um, so it was fantastic.
Yeah, and then we did the bus, the train, the bus, all the way back. Plenty
Yeah.
of time to let the food settle in. By the time we got home, we were ready for a snack.
Mm-hmm. Which, we talked about this in hindsight. I think it would have been better to leave it out. We went Dunkin' Donuts, picked up a couple donuts. And at that point, I was like, I feel content. But I was
Yeah,
like, we bought it, got to eat it. And then it was like, we didn't feel great. It was just, should have left it. Should have left it on the shelf.
yeah. It was a little bit of a rookie move in that regard, trying
Mm-hmm.
to extend it a little too much, but our bodies at this point can't handle that much extra. So there's a lot of food regret the next day
Mm-hmm.
because we had to get up very early the
Mm-hmm.
next day for our flights back. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, but just the restaurant, like you said, the perfect cap to a amazing, amazing trip. Lots of highlights, memories. Really, really enjoyable experience.
Yeah, a unique one. And we were talking, I'm confident that I'm going through the memories in my mind. And we visited each other and we've done things here and there, like one off, one time we went to Spokane together and we watched the Spokane minor league baseball game together. But this is the first time we've done like any kind of overnight or anything like that, where it's just you and I enjoying the trip together. And a huge shout out to my wife who kind of initiated a lot of this with you and watched the kids for 4 days and the whole deal, just took care of everything. So huge shout out to my wife and the families for letting us go and do and having this just a really special, spectacular trip.
Yeah, it was so memorable in so many ways. And yeah, like you, shout out to my partner and helping to make it all happen. Um, got us a little baseballism gift cards. We get the swag at the Field of Dreams. It was
Mm-hmm.
everything was just on point for the trip,
It was.
and we highly like our itinerary was lovely.
Mhm.
Recommend it to anybody out there. If you can swing it, make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. We're already brainstorming kind of the next Aaron Adam trip. If you have ideas, drop them in the comments below. We don't have a time frame. We don't have it mapped out yet, but we're talking about it because that was a lot of fun to do it like that together. So we want to say thanks to all of you for hanging with us. A little longer show. This is just a special one. We got to share our story, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we recommend it if you're going out that way. We don't know everything there is to do and all the stuff, but happy to share our story with you, what to see. where we went, those kind of things. So thanks for hanging with us, and we'll catch you next time.